Hey guys.
Welcome to 216 West Nash.
So Nash was one of those homes that really did find us. You know, we were doing other projects on Caswell Avenue at the time, and we loved what we were doing on those projects, which is we were able to take those homes back down and strip them and rebuild them, but they were able to get their historic plaques. And that's something that we're really passionate about, is, you know, preserving the history that's here in Southport. The home that sat here was calling us the same way all of the other homes call to us. It's in the most beautiful location already, but it was just wanting some love it hadn't had in a while. And it tore our hearts to pieces to have to ultimately end up taking it down.
So, you know, the house was built in the 1890s. And when we realized that we could not salvage the home, we had a historical preservationist take it down piece by piece so we could salvage as much as we could of the home so we could reapply it into the new build. And so you'll find different moments throughout the house where, you know, we've applied those moments, and I believe they all turned out really nice.
The first and foremost thing that drove the design on this project was, just like every other project, we want to make sure that it fit historic downtown Southport. Obviously, there are some things architecturally and how we live today that change over the past several hundred years. So there are some things that we wanted to make sure were included in the home, like some of today's modern amenities. But the first thing that we jumped off from was at the other end of Nash. There is a beautiful Victorian home on Nash and Howe that they've been restoring, and that home has the third floor presence and the beautiful porches on the front. So we wanted to make sure that the street on this end had something to kind of bookend this section. So we went off the size and scope of an existing home and wanted to make sure that it had those Southern historic references, but was updated in today's living. And then the narrow lot also influenced the design. We wanted to make sure the home still felt very wide open and spacious, but those were some
of our challenges.
Yeah, I think it was a challenge to fit this floor plan on this lot, but it worked. We let Southport be our guide.
So you'll see through the home that we have some different elements, such as the fireplace surround. It was in the original home. We have some of the rafters and some of the trusses from the home that we have reapplied into shelving opportunities, whether that's in the living room or by the coffee station. We have taken the original beams from the house and reapplied those into two of the smaller bedrooms into the beams. I love the reapplication of the brick, of course. You know, I mean, to be able to reutilize that within the home is a big deal to me, especially because they're stamped with the original brick makers. I think we have maybe 4 or 5 different brick makers throughout the years of this house, having additions added to it. But, you know, working with the different timbers throughout the home was really nice. Gosh, there was so many components that we reapplied those, and just to bring what looked like old wood from the 1800s, yeah, you know, to life and give it a new opportunity to live on.
My favorite part of this home that almost didn't happen is the third floor observation deck. And I think it's almost necessary to the home now, especially now that it's complete. When you're on the third floor deck and you can see, because of how the house is positioned, the sun rising to your left, it nestles in right over these homes, over the water to your right.
Yeah, I believe if you're not talking about the moments within the house, the exterior of the home really does it needs to be celebrated. The second floor balcony is a beautiful moment. You know, you're right nestled into the canopy of the tree.
So one of our favorite things to do on any project, but especially here at 216 Nash, was to save a lot of the historical and architectural details that were original to the home. One of those examples can be found here in the original 1800s mantle that we were able to bring in, and then the floating beams that are on each side of the fireplace. Those originally were the beams that held up the house, so we wanted to pay homage and give a tribute to those in a very meaningful way here.
Yeah, these are really nice. I love these. You know, we took time to mill these down to where they weren't so rough, and I think they turned out really nice. So I'll tell you, you know, within this space of the great room, we have here 2 oversized sofas. Of course, this may not be everyone's cup of tea. They may want something a little bit more modern, a little bit more streamlined, but this shows you that you can maximize, you know, the space with this amount of seating, which
You still have room to salsa.
I still have room to salsa.
That's right. One of my favorite things is all of the attention that we spent on the light fixtures in the home. I mean, they're very special, and they were curated over a process of time. But I think having those magical moments throughout the home really is like the jewelry that you put on at the end of an outfit. I think it can make or break you or take the direction of the home in different directions. And we wanted her to feel sophisticated, but also playful and fun. And I think we were able to achieve that just through the light fixtures alone.
Here we have another great feature. It's our wine cellar. On the back wall, we did a concrete application, which I find very appealing. We've done that in a couple different locations. We have that on the fireplace, which you saw a moment ago. We also have it on the vent hood. And then we have a desk upstairs, as well as a vanity in the powder room. So here in the portico, you have double golf cart access, you have your charging stations, and you're parking on top of these bricks from the 1800s, which are dynamite.
Because even though the function is very important, the form always has to be right up there with it. Hi again. So we just jumped off of our golf cart, parked directly in the portico, more of those 1800 reclaimed bricks that are there. As you'll notice throughout the entire home, we've made sure to include ample storage. This house is definitely not lacking in that. As you'll see, we're now in the scullery where there's appliance garages, extra food centers, your beverage center for your caterers, your under-the-counter microwave drawer. And then of course we set all of this off with beautiful nautical lights, coastal wallpaper. We wanted to make sure that the design still felt all-inclusive to the home, but we wanted to make sure that the primary focus here was ample storage, which I think we achieved. So like any other house that we would do with a gorgeous kitchen, we would use solid wood cabinets that soft close, and all of that's here at 216 West Nash. One of my favorite moments though is when we were thinking about the design on this home, we wanted to harken back to a time that has passed, so we incorporated this pie safe grating. For any of you that grew up in the South, you probably had a grandmother or a someone that would bake pies and store them in a place like this. We took the nod and the nostalgia and put that into place, but this obviously would serve as someone's china and glassware hutch. And then our pie safe butts directly up to this artisan vent hood, and then the artisan vent hood is encapsulating the chef's moment. We incorporated chef's appliances throughout the entire home with an industrial strength drafting system up top. But the vent hood itself is kind of the cream of the crop.
Well, here we just have our custom concrete vent hood. It's an artisan piece. You know, it takes quite a bit of hours in order to create one of these. I've always enjoyed doing these, but this is probably one of my favorites, one of the largest that we've done. So let's leave the kitchen and head on into the primary suite, but let me show you a few things on the way, such as our coffee station, which is conveniently located outside of the primary. You have places for your coffee supplies. Here you have storage for your linens and towels for the primary as well. And then you also have the reclaimed shelving, which is a beautiful application here. So follow me now to the primary suite. And here you have plenty of space. We have a king size bed here. We have 24-inch bedside tables, which could be 24-inch 3-drawer chest if you need more storage.
So here in the primary ensuite, we made sure that we included ample storage, a beautiful soaking tub, more of that gorgeous reclaimed wood that we have sprinkled throughout the home. But the tile in the shower has to be one of my absolute favorites. It's hand-cut terracotta tile that was imported. We laid this in a fish scale pattern so that it would mimic either a fish or a mermaid, but the shades and texture, because it was handmade, really gives a special, unique moment and really sets this bathroom apart.
You know, one of the things I'll never get tired of is all this natural light that floods in through these windows.
And speaking of all of the natural light, it's one of the things that helped inspire our railing choices in the house. Not only is it a nautical theme and carries inside and outside, kind of mimicking what you'd feel on the end of a ship, but it's designed to maximize letting that light in.
This custom creation leads us to another bedroom.
So we lovingly refer to this room as the bunk room. Our ultimate goal in mind was to have 4 queen beds built into here with a ladder. Obviously, we've left that up to each individual client that could potentially buy the home, whether they want to set up as a king bed for a second master, 2 queen beds that we have set it up, or a grand bunk room for all the grandkids to come and run and play and live. It's just a great opportunity to make it your own.
I'm just coming in from our 3rd floor observation deck, which is one of my favorites. It leads down to our media space.
The media space is one of our favorites because it offers the most flexibility. We're currently sitting on a sectional that's taking full advantage of the view, but the furniture can be arranged so that this can be a media room. I would love for this to be my private office with the amazing built-in wet bar kitchenette on the opposite side. I think the possibilities here are pretty endless. One of our favorite things to do in any home is to make sure you know where to leave the space, so you have these wide open, expansive, gorgeous stairwells, and where to utilize the space. The best place to always take up room is for storage. So in our upstairs, the same as we did our downstairs, we have linen storage, upstairs coffee bar just for the guests, which is very important, as well as an upstairs laundry.
So here we have our hall bathroom, which also services these 2 bedrooms. And then within those, we have reclaimed beams that we salvaged from the original house, which I adore.
Those beams are one of my favorites. They actually are the trusses that hold up this new house, so they're structurally important. To be a writer's workshop, homework area, Etsy shop, private office. And we have this at the end of the home, which leads us directly into our crofter. The crofter can be separated from the rest of the home. As you can see, there's plenty of room for a dining room table, living room area, walk-in closet. It's got its own primary entrance so that you can use this just for guests or for some of those college students that still need their own space. Still has plenty of room for a queen-size bed, a couple of nightstands, and its own bathroom, but it also has its own laundry. So this is a fully self-sufficient space.
So on top of that though, this room, although set up as a bedroom, could flex as a game room. You could put a pool table in here, you could put a poker table in here. There's just so many ways of flexing this space.
And you've got that private door, so if it's even a kid's room or a playroom or your private office, it's great to be able to contain messes to certain spaces.
Absolutely,
sometimes.
absolutely. I find it interesting whenever you're living in Southport. You know, Southport's all about front porch living. You know, this porch is beautiful with the herringbone brick. You know, it's spacious enough to have plenty of furniture out here to, you know, entertain your guests. But what a day to sit here and just wave at your neighbors who are walking by.
And the house has plenty of inside space, but anybody that's from the South knows that all of your real living goes on the porch.